Hey everybody, welcome to an extra special episode of Steven's Minecraft tutorials. And I know how much you like me to say it, so I'll say it. Tutorial. I don't know why, but it amuses some people. By popular demand, this is going to be a mini-series about Minecart Subways. What I want to show you first are a couple little quirks about track, and we'll get going. So if we go down here, the only reason all this stuff works, I'm sure some of you have seen powered minecarts before. That's where you take a cart like this one that I have in my hand, and you combine it with a furnace, and allows you to load some kind of fuel, be it coal, lava, or wood, into a cart and send it off on its way. And that's all fine and good, but they have very limited speed and limited force that they can apply. And luckily, at the moment, there's a beautiful little glitch in the game that allows us to fully manipulate the speed and momentum of the carts, and that is called a booster. And I'm sure you've heard of it if you're watching this. If you haven't, not a big deal. It doesn't make any freaking sense, so I wouldn't expect you to. Basically, the principle is this. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. But if you have two carts going side by side with some limitation, so if we have a cart here, by the way, I have my Minecraft sound on for the first time in a video, so anyway, if we have two carts like this, you can see they link up and zoom ahead. They both, for some reason, will propel the other. They just kind of zoomed off here. You can't make them do it again really quickly, but you saw that they took off at an extremely quick speed, considering the fact that I just placed them down with no initial velocity, or, like a starting speed, if you will. And, so by exploiting this, what we can do is build some neat little contraptions that will allow us to increase our minecarts to maximum velocity anytime we want them to. And so the basic boosters we'll be using there's ones that go in, so a booster in a single direction, meaning you're traveling along a line of track and you get boosted along this way, but only this way. If you go back this way, it won't work. Or there's bidirectional, meaning if you come from the left or right in this example, it doesn't matter, it would boost you just as much. And the basic ones that I like, so we'll pretend that this is our track, and we won't pretend because it actually is right now. And so what we'll have is, oh yeah, I guess I should say, in order for this to work, your cart has to either come from a corner, so if we're coming down this track, and the booster is our single one here, if we're coming across it, and we hit it at a corner, the cart will engage. Or if it's on a slope, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Sorry, this is really sloppy. I'm trying not to plan too much. I was trying to ad-lib this a little bit. Okay, so if we have our cart on a slope like this, then this will also engage the boost. However, if the two are just simply flat and run into each other, more often than not, they'll just have a collision. And that can be problematic because a collision would be the opposite of a boost, would it not? So what you want to do when you have a booster, this is a very simple one, just like an angled straight line. We'll put a block at the back so our cart can't, go back too far. And if we, sorry, I'm trying to do all this before you so you can kind of see my trial and error. This is going to be a really rough video because I want you to witness some of my experiments and mistakes so you know what not to try. Okay, so that's our traveling cart. Here's our booster cart. And I'm going to push this one here. Hop in. There we go. See, check it out. Propelled us really, really fast. And the longer you have the tracks parallel, the longer the carts will stay linked. And by the rules of our exploit, the longer they're linked, the longer they will increase each other's speed. And if you have a connected booster of, say, 4 to 6 tracks, you're going to get pretty close to the maximum velocity that this game can handle. So a boost of around that much typically is enough to propel your cart for several hundred blocks. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't look like you're going fast, and that's because you experience what we call terminal velocity, meaning you reach the fastest speed that you can under the given conditions. So that's what our booster is going to look like. Another example of it, I'll show you another cool one here. This is one that I like to use. And you have to be careful with boosters because you can kind of mess up your game sometimes if you use a booster as an infinite loop, and we'll talk about that more in depth. But this is sorry, people that do lots of boosters are probably like screaming right now, like, "Oh my God, what the hell are you doing?" Alrighty. we'll have our booster cart on the ground like this, and you see it's level with our decline, so it's going to catch, and we'll dig out several blocks of these here, so that, there we go, like this, so that our carts are parallel for quite some time. And what we're going to want to do is, I'm going to dig this guy out here so that you have to be careful with the tracks so they don't accidentally connect when you don't want them to. You can have to experiment and see when you're placing them. So we could have this track end right here. What's going to happen is, if we're coming from this direction, if we go down, the booster cart is going to end up stuck over here like this. So I'll show you what that looks like really quickly. I'll just push it so we can watch it. We push it, and the other cart goes over here. Now, for a one-directional track, it's going to be stuck there, right? It's not resetting itself, so that if another cart comes right behind you, see, I'll show you. If we push another cart, it's just going to take the hill, but at the normal speed, and they'll bounce off the other one. But the nice thing is, if we're coming back from the other direction, say we came from base A, which is this one, and we went to base B, now we're going back to base A, look, our booster cart, this is actually symmetrical here. You see, we have our incline and incline. So if we come back from this direction, our, oops, my cart's off the track. Okay, so our cart is already set up to get boosted. If we push it, bam, and it sets itself up for this one over here. So this only works if you have one cart going at a time, which is usually all I ever have because I mostly play single player. And you can adapt something like this for your needs. So say we have our main track running this way. And for some reason at this point we'll say everything got super slow. So what we're going to have is cool little booster. Let's say it goes, oops, lagging there. Let's have our track go down so that we can actually engage the booster. Sometimes you do have to drop it, you know, because it has to be an incline or a corner. And what we'll have over here is our booster. So we're going to have it begin here. That's where we'll place our cart, like so. This will be the booster cart, we call it. It pushes the other one. And what we'll do is, this is going to be the resetting part, okay? So we know if we're wanting a one-directional system, the cart has to reset itself back to this point, or else the system will be unusable when we want to reset it again. We don't have to come down here, every single time and manually reset it because we're looking for automation. We want everything to work for us. So what we'll do is we'll make a loop to drop this back on the track. Like this. Okay, you see the loop? And it's pointed over this cliff, so the cart's going to fall down. And I'll tell you what's going to happen is, regardless of what the rest of this track looks like, this hill means the cart is going to hit the hill and gravity will pull it down. So let's just push this cart from behind and watch what happens. It goes up the hill, we push it around the bend, and it falls back down. So we should, and we'll try this of course, don't want to leave you out to dry. So we'll push our cart here, it should get boosted, and our main cart, ooh, a dungeon. So our main cart should take off on its normal course at a very high velocity because of this cart, and this one should reset waiting for the next cart to come. So we'll push cart 1, boom, it zooms, and look at that reset. Beautiful. So then we'll say that my friend is right behind me, and oh no, my cart's slowing down. I'm going to go down a hill and catch a booster. Bam, look at that thing. Resets, and our other cart is presumably at base X. Why the hell not? So let me show you the next basic thing we want to talk about, which is track switching. And it's very simple. Tracks, if you have a T intersection of some kind, it can be, you know, just a 2 or 3 or 4 block T like this one. If you power the intersection, so like where these are all meeting right here, if you power this, it will switch its position. So watch, I'm going to hit this. This is just a normal switch that I made. If we hit this, check it out. The track switches, okay? And this is significant because this works with any powered device, meaning we can use redstone and wires, or we can use pressure plates, which I really love, or buttons, or any kind of power signal. And so what we're going to do with this, in my example, is first we're going to use it for hailing our cart, like so down here, and we're going to use it to detect a runaway cart, which is another thing that Bob implemented that I kind of experimented with and figured out on my own. Nice little system that works. And so we'll look at that. and in due time, of course. So there's a couple rules to this. I really suggest you watch Bob's video for it. I don't like getting into the details of it. I really prefer to work with trial and error and see what works and what doesn't, rather than sit here and try to crank out the rules. So please take a moment to watch this video if you're confused on this. But I'll go ahead and show you what we're going to do with this. So check it out. Oops, we need some light, don't we, huh? So this block right here is our intersection. So if we add a line to this, like so, right now we have an off line, so we're not, oh, yeah, we screwed it up. That's right. Okay, so before we can do this, I have to show you another type of track resetter, or booster resetter, and it's a neat one that, guess where I learned it? That's right, it was Bob. But I'd like to show you, of course. So the problem is that this wire is hitting this line, and it's switching the track to a direction we don't want it to switch. It's messing up our loop. So if we make a more compact loop, we won't experience the same problem. So what we want to do is make the most compact loop possible, which is going to look like a circle, like this, and we're going to kind of trick the game into letting us do it. I'll try to show you how I do it. It's pretty simple. We want to create this curve. So we have half of our curve here. What we want to do is achieve the same thing through the rest of this. I'm going to need some more dirt. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use stone. So we'll build up our track here. We're going to trick it into thinking that we're going to build up here, right? So we place on top of that block, and you see how it curved? And now, if we destroy this block, it stays. Pretty cool, huh? And so now, we have our same resetting thing, but look how compact it is compared to before. So now, if we run our carts, I know this is kind of rushed, but again, this is something that Bob shows very much in detail. I'm really looking to show you the whole system here, not so much these little intricacies. So we have our perpetual motion, and if we power our tracks here with a switch of some kind, let's see, that didn't change it, did it? No, okay. So watch. By powering this intersection, we want to switch it to this line here, okay? So this would be us saying, yo, I'm standing here, I push a button on the wall, and I want a cart to come pick me up and take me to my other base. So watch. You switch it, and bam, there it goes. Oh, lagging. So the last thing I need to talk about in the basics is pressure plates. And that is, we have two kinds of pressure plates in this game, wooden and stone. And the only differences are the materials you craft them out of. So we have wood, like this one, and smooth stone, like this. And the neat thing is that you would expect the materials to behave differently. So you have a stone one and a wooden one, and that is true, they do. A wooden pressure plate, I'm going to rig up a little indicator to this so that we can see what's going on with it. So this is our indicator light. Ignore this one, please. So when we step on our pressure plate, we see it turns on. And the same thing is going to happen with a stone one. Oh, I better just be safe. Don't want to lose our plates. So if we step on a stone one, that works as well. And you'll notice on a stone pressure plate, stone pressure plate, no matter how many items we put on it, items will not weigh it down enough to turn on. However, as you've seen before in maybe my trap videos, if you put items onto a wooden pressure plate, it will actually be strong enough to force it down. Watch our indicator over here. So we push it, bam, onto the plate, it turns on, because it was triggered by the weight of the cart. And that doesn't change whether we're in it or we're not in it. It's anything over the wooden pressure plate is going to change it. However, with our stone plate, right there, if we push a cart onto it, it doesn't change. However, the second we get in that cart, let me make sure, yeah, I got headroom. Check it out. It turns on because our body weight triggers it. Thanks everybody for watching. In the upcoming episodes, we're going to explore, concepts of perpetual motion, cart dispensers, waiting carts, and empty cart detection. So be sure to check out those videos as soon as they are up, and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you, and have a good one.